Basically, I think BTM core business has all the while been going in towards to finger jointing, okay, molding and kiln drawing. Finger jointing is uses all those timbers in pieces form. You join them into a solid wood. That's where you put in your lamination or your veneer on top of it to look like a solid wood. They sometimes call it engineered timber flooring. All right. The other part of the mold business is called molding, in which we produces so-called solid wood or even finger jointing, so-called finger jointing into things like architrave for windows, skirting for the flooring, where if it's a finger joint architrave or molding, it is actually designed with a profile, laminate them or veneer them, okay, and we sell it and export it to America or even to Japan, all right? Those are called molding business, which is more specific design in which we will custom make the design accordingly, all right? The last part is called kiln drawing. Kiln drawing is whereby a lot of furniture companies, they want to do furniture, they need to dry off, okay, the timber, treat them accordingly, and getting done in the proper manner, So we have got the process machine that actually kiln dry it, okay, to a status whereby it is fit enough to do furnitures accordingly, all right? So that is the core business that they've been doing for a while, since the day the company got listed since 1995. However, in 2017, okay, because of the core business, we used to have a lot of wood waste because all the so-called wood bark, the roots and the leaves and whatever that's left behind within 1 feet, 6 inches to 1 feet, they are normally being thrown to landfill. All right. Instead of using it to landfills and throw them away, which costs us money, what we do is we recycle it back. Okay, we recycle it back by virtue of chipping it, obtaining the sawdust, using our oven, dry it to the moisture content, about 12% of moisture content, and then from there on, we put into a hammer mill machine, and where we extrude out those pellet form, a size of about maybe 8 mm to 10 mm diameter to a size of 50 mm in terms of the length. And these wood waste that we actually produce it into pellets is used as a recyclable or renewable energy, where lots of people are using them in cold countries for heating, but we mainly produces it, okay, for our Korean and Japanese country. They're actually replacing coal, okay, with wood pellets for ESG compliance and for green energy. With the Ukraine and Russian war lately, and the gas supply going down to the European countries are being stopped indirectly, and there's a lack of natural gas for the heating, and these have created into a so-called a power shortage in the European country. Now, what we produces is renewable pellets. These pellets are also a form of energy where they use it for heating, and they also sometimes use it a little bit of as a lighting as well in the night. When they, instead of burning wood, they burn pellets, which is you have a higher calorific value, and the heat produces out is much more cleaner, and it is having a more combustion compared to wood base, and they are cleaner. They don't turn into coal, all right? They just burn into, finally they come out, it's called ash, all right? So with the Ukraine and Russian war that has happened, and I believe that these things will not be resolved in a very short term, this has created into a very huge demand by the European market. And from what we can see, that's of late, the prices of wood pellets nowadays, FOB in Kuala Lumpur, 3 weeks ago is about $350, $400. Maybe 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago is about $300 to $350 per ton. Now the prices has gone up to as high, and the last order we obtained was 650 ringgit per ton, FOB. Right? I think based on this, you can see that I think the consumption by the European countries as well as Japan and Korea has created a huge demand for wood pellet, and the prices of wood pellets are now going up very high, and it's actually a good potential for BTM Resources Berhad under a subsidiary called BTM Biomass Product, which is producing wood pellets to be exported out to the various countries. I will make it a little bit more shorter because it goes way back in 2019. Okay, I think with all the economy problems in Malaysia and the political instability those days, have created a so-called section whereby we wanted to be in a situation of having a stable business for the company. And that's where we actually embarked into application for a power plant uses biomass renewable energy, uses wood waste. All right. In 2019, we actually applied for a power study report in which we obtained the approval for 12 megawatt with the installed capacity of 10 megawatt to be injected into a PMU in Teluk Kalong. And as late as July, we have actually obtained the feed-in tariff. 2020 June or July, we got the feed-in tariff and also the wrap-up agreement totally executed. All right. And there was a delay, okay, onto the so-called initial stage when we got the power supply study done in 2019 due to the COVID-19 situation. But however, the final approvals that came out with the wrap-up agreement and the feed-in tariff was executed in 2020 June. Okay. Now, in 2020 June, once we have obtained the feed-in tariff, we are being requested to get the power plant operational within 2 years. Okay. The first portion of the schedule is called the financial close. Financial close meaning to say to obtain the financing for the power plant. All right. Now, as late as 2020 November, okay, we have appointed Sam Aiden as our EPCC contractor. EPCC means engineering procurement construction contract. All right. And Sam Aiden being so-called public listed as well under ACE, with their expertise of Ms. Chow and also the husband. They are capable of actually running the power plant. We appointed them and become the EPCC contractor. Together with them, we have approached MBSB Bank and we have obtained the loan in 2021 April, okay, amounting to 92.48 million, being 80% of the total construction cost to be awarded to Samiden at 115.6 million. All right. With the approvals that we have obtained, there were a condition precedent with regards to the loan, in which it was stipulated in April 2021, that is BTM to raise an equity of 23.12 million, being the balance of the 115.6 million against the 92.48 million loan. All right. With that approval, we have gone through a corporate exercise together with BTM, is to raise a public right issue, okay, and we have submitted in as early as 2021 September to obtain the approval of the right issues with a minimum so-called raise funds of 62 million ringgit. All right. The 62 million ringgit to be raised in this corporate exercise shall include, I think, the three main part of the company. The first part of it is actually with regards to an acquisition of 5,672 acres of land, a forestry land in Cenderung, which is very near to the power plant, for the purpose of planting the field for the power plant. Meaning to say we will be planting acacia mangium for dual purpose. One is for log and the other one is for the biomass. All right. Now, these will cater for the supply of our power plant to about approximately 60% to 70%. The reason of this acquisition is to ensure that we are able to control the price of the raw material being the fuel for the power plant. All right. And these are involved in acquisition of the land and also a replantation program using acacia mangium over a recycling period of 4 years. Now, the second portion of the raise of the 62 million is actually the 23.12 million is against the 20% equity required by MBSB in relation to the 92.48 million loan with MBSB. Now, the third part of the raising of the equity would be for the working capital, in which we have really foreseen that the wood pellet, okay, the business will be very vibrant, and we are having in mind to raise the working cap in relation to that, to buy some raw material if necessary for the purpose of actually manufacturing pellets to be sold to countries like Japan, Korea, and the Europe countries. All right. So that falls until as the end of 2022 in the month of July and August. We have finally obtained the approval, and now we are going through the processes, okay, of issuing the right issues, in which we believe the whole exercise, the exercise is fully approved, and we are targeting for the X date, which is on the 14th of December, the trading of the OR, which is scheduled to end in 29th of November, and the payment by the 6th of January, and the listing of the rights by 16th of January 2023. Yes, it is very capital intensive, but the good thing is we have got a so-called a AAA rating off-taker. The AAA off-taking is actually by DNB via SEDA. Okay, they will actually take up whatever we produce in the 10 megawatt with a plus and minus of 5%, okay, to be absorbed and the payment by DNB accordingly, in which we do not have to worry about payment. All right, it's a very secure business. And the return may not be so, what they call it, very, very lucrative in 20-30%, but at least we do know that it's much better in the manufacturing. It has got a double-digit growth, okay, and double-digit return, in which we think is very so-called attractive, okay, for the shareholders as well to the board accordingly. And that's the reason why we go through the whole exercise of raising the capital, in which we believe this particular business will generate good return to us. Besides that particular point, with this current emergence economic situation, I believe companies that is ESG in compliance and they're doing green energy, I think these are the one of the most so-called coveted kind of a business that is available, and I think people will look very highly upon, and we want to get into this business when we believe that it is actually very lucrative, considering the fact for the next coming 20 years we get a very good off-taker from us accordingly. Yes, you are right. I think we got good fortune and it falls on the second time. All right. This 7 megawatt, which has been awarded to us on the basis of the installed capacity at 8 megawatt, fit out at 7 megawatt, falls onto the same location and same site as the original 10 megawatt. That would literally mean that all the infrastructure costs in relation to the road, the earthworks, the DNB for the cold start, and the storage and the water, all would have been done by then under the 10 megawatt. So there will be a reduction of what we call capex costs in relation to the 7 megawatt. All right. It is a good thing that we can actually obtain it, and we have also the same site where we actually connect it to the grid as well. That means with the one pole that we created for the 10 megawatt, we are able to put two ways to also allow the 7 megawatt to feed out based on the same way and the same pole, but on the different side of the pole. That means there's the capex cost being reduced tremendously. However, based on this, we have got a slight reduction, okay, into our feed-in tariff rates, in which is approximately about 33.83 cents as compared to our 10 megawatt, which is 34.86 cents accordingly. But it's still very good. It still gives us a double digit of our internal rate of returns. And there is a good economy of scale. The managing of all the stock, fuel stock, everything becomes very handy. We do not have a double storage area. We only need a single storage area for both of the plants, which is scheduled to be on the same site.